Hello everybody and welcome to the Publishing Performance Show. Today I'm super happy to be joined by Mike Hourigan from Written Word Media. Now Written Word Media is one of the biggest book promotion platforms on the internet, and there they bring you brands such as Free Booksy. And today we're going to be doing a bit of a deep dive into how you can really get your book selling by using things like email promotions, free book promotions, and much, much more. So it's a great show and I think you're going to get loads out of it. So stay to the end where Mike's got some great tips all about how you can get your book selling straight from the start. Hi everyone and welcome back to the Publishing Performance Show. I'm here with Mike Hourigan from Written Word Media. Now you might know Written Word Media from the brands Free Booksy and Bargain Booksy when you're doing free book promotions. It's a really great resource for getting some good tips on marketing and some great services as well for doing free book promotions and for getting your book out there into the world. So hi Mike, thanks for joining.
Teddy, thank you for having me. I am always happy to get on and talk about book marketing to hopefully help some authors. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that.
Brilliant. No, thank you very much. I've used Free Booksy a couple of times. It's a really great service when you're trying to get your launch. You know, that launch is quite a difficult process. You're trying to get the first reviews, trying to get it out there, first sales. So yeah, thank you for your good service.
Of course. Yeah. Glad it's, worked well for you, and certainly, looking forward to talking through the different use cases where different authors can benefit from our different brands like Free Booksy.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, let's jump straight in then. So I think what the main thing I wanted to talk about today is book promotions, especially with things like any new trends or what sort of the best practices to do in 2024, like in the middle of the year 2024. So let's go through some of the best book promotions and the different types that are available and when you kind of use them.
Yes, absolutely. So when I think about book promotions, I kind of think about them in two very high level overarching themes. So you have launch promotions for a brand new launch, and then you have price promotions where, what is newsworthy is that your book is either free or it's 99 cents or at a lower price point. And then within each of those different broad promotion types, whether it's launch or price promotion, you have different channels that you can promote it in. And so email promotions, going back to what I know very well at Written Word Media with Free Booksy and Bargain Booksy, we have lists of hundreds of thousands of readers that subscribe to us and look to us for discounts on ebooks. And so that is where if you're planning to make your book free or discount it to 99 cents, or even if it's below $4.99 and that's just its price, you can do an email promotion with Free Booksy, Bargain Booksy, Red Feather Romance, any of our brands. But then there's also different channels like social media promotions, right? Your organic social media profile as an author, and then also social media ads. You can also do promotions with other authors via list swaps, so email list swaps. And then also your traditional kind of PR and media placement. So getting on a podcast or, sharing a press release and getting that in some local publications. So at a high level, that's kind of where we're at in 2024 with a lot of the available book promotions.
Yeah, great. And so the promotions that we're talking about now, do you think they're really for when you're trying to launch the book, or is it more of an ongoing process?
So it's both. And that's one of the best things about this is we work with a lot of authors who are writing and launching their first book. And then if that's the case, there's a lot of value in running something like a Free Booksy, which is, yes, you're going to give certain amounts of your book away, downloads on Kindle for free, but in return, you're going to get reviews and you're going to hopefully then get people to join your email newsletter if you're putting, a link to your email newsletter in the back matter of your book. But we also work with a lot of profitable and full-time authors who utilize our services and still utilize book promotions to grow their revenue, particularly for their backlists. And if you're not familiar with what a backlist is, that's just your repertoire of other books that you've written. So maybe, it's a series
right
from the past, right?
How does that work? So if you've got your backlist of books, you'd send that to Free Booksy, for example, and then they would promote the whole list of books, or is it something different?
So there's a couple ways you can do it. So let's say you have a fantasy series that has 5 titles. So one thing that works very well is you can make the first book free and run a free Booksy to the first book in the series, and then get read through and purchases of the subsequent 4 books. So that's one thing authors do. And then you can also run, we offer series promos where you can actually send readers to your Amazon series page, which if you're not familiar with this, it makes it very easy for readers to buy your entire series with one click. And so you can promote that to our list as well.
Okay, so you can kind of make like bundles within the Amazon's on the series page. Is that what you mean? With all
That's
of your...
correct.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
And do you find that works for non-fiction and fiction books, or is it mostly fiction books you see that sort of tactic with?
So it's mostly fiction, but we do work with nonfiction authors as well. There are some kind of nuances to nonfiction versus fiction, particularly with series promos. One of our products that I would highly recommend if you're watching this and you are a nonfiction author is to look at NewInBooks, which is one of our sub brands that helps authors both with their marketing and PR for a new book launch, and particularly for nonfiction, for biographies, memoirs, business books, finance books. That's the route we would recommend you go.
Right. Yeah, because a lot of the listeners are nonfiction writers. How does NewInBooks work compared to Free Booksy, for example? What's the difference?
Yes. So part of it is the list that we've compiled of readers who are subscribed to NewInBooks. They're not as discount driven. So for Free Booksy, you subscribe, you're looking for free books, right?
Yeah.
With NewInBooks, it's more so like you are interested in what's new and you're also willing to pay for it as a reader. And then what we do for NewInBooks, which is really cool and one of the best benefits of written word media, is we give you a dedicated book launch specialist. So you come to us and say, hey, I'm planning to launch this book in 90 days, 100 days. And we will work with you to not only schedule your email promotions, but we'll also interview you. We'll publish that on the NewInBooks website, in addition to a number of other things like helping you with an editorial review that you can share. And it all makes for a very clean and smooth launch to make sure you are, in fact, doing what you need to be doing to make a splash for your new launch.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. I think what would be really helpful is we kind of go through some of the services of Written Word Media. I think what would be really good is if we could go through like a kind of an ideal launch process and how the services fit in as well. But like, there's some people that might be doing it for DIY, and they'd love to hear your experience as well on what that launch process should look like, I think.
Absolutely. So obviously the caveat here is everything is slightly different, but if I had to kind of condense this into what would kind of be an ideal book launch, I would start with the pre-launch. And for new authors, sometimes this can be a bit overwhelming. Like, okay, the pre-launch, like what exactly do I need to do? And so with this is kind of teasers, right? So this is like if you've started building a social media following, or if you've even started growing an email list, you have a MailChimp or a MailerLite account, and you have people that are interested in what you're going to put out there and they know something's coming. You use the pre-launch kind of in the 90-ish days, sometimes even more, leading up to the launch to do teasers, cover reveals, pre-order announcements, anything like that to build buzz ahead of time. So I would recommend that. And, Teddy, obviously, if you have anything to add about the timeline, but
I was thinking that pre-launch, do you notice any authors do things like get into Facebook groups or into other newsletter mailing lists to try and get that recognition for themselves as well?
Yes, none of that's going to hurt, right? This kind of goes back to the adage, like, PR is PR, right? Like, get PR around your book, and then, do what you can there. And again, as a first-time author, you're not going to have the biggest audience yet. Most likely not, right? So then you get into the launch week, and this is where written word media really comes in. So what we recommend is for your launch week, particularly if you're going to be doing email promotions, we recommend that you stack them. And this is called promo stacking. So one of the things that we try to get authors to shy away from, or at least be more cognizant of, is not to just run one promo and stop and that's it. So particularly around a launch week, we want to make sure that, especially if you're selling on Amazon, you're getting downloads or sales over multiple days. And so what this should look like is a bell curve, right?
Yep.
You don't just want a flash in the pan up and down, because Amazon,
like when you use those free promotion days, it's like you often see it on those charts, don't you, where it's like, oh, I had like 1,000 sales today, and then it's like 20 or over the whole next 2 weeks or something. You don't want that.
You don't want that. And promo stacking is what can give you an edge to kind of show Amazon, hey, this is not just a flash in the pan where I've emailed, my friends and family, I get 1 day of sales and that's it. So, this is where we would recommend looking into doing a free Booksy or a red feather, a free Booksy and a red feather email promotion. And then also layering in some Facebook and Instagram ads, right? Which we offer as well at Written Word Media. We'll run your Facebook and Instagram ads for you. It's called reader reach ads. So,
have you noticed that either of those work better, or is there like does some work better for types of like fiction books, for example, and some work better for nonfiction? Or
so in terms of the absolute number of results, the email promotions are going to do the best. If you're looking for, hundreds and thousands of downloads, you're going to want to be looking at our email promotions. And then the Facebook and Instagram ads also do well, but those are more of a steady trickle. So we run those ads over 5, 10, or 30-day increments. That's what we offer them in. And that's to, again, help with that bell curve. And so, that's within the first kind of 5 days of your launch. And then what we recommend, after the first 5 days or week of your launch, is to continue promoting afterwards, like continue with follow-up emails, engage with reader reviews, if they're on different platforms where you can respond to them, engage with them, and do anything you can to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, great. And when we talk about getting the reviews later on, because one of the most difficult things is getting those reviews, but kind of before your book was launched, or at least before you've gone to the big launch and you're really out there selling. What processes do you use? Do you use any of the sort of services like Pubby or anything like that to try and get reviews, or any of the Written Word Media's tools too?
Yes. So I would certainly recommend it. I mean, this is the chicken and egg, right? This is always the hardest thing. It's like, I just launched this book, but like I need reviews and ratings to be able to sell it. Like, what do I do? Right. And so this is where you can have your kind of preliminary readers, leave reviews for you. And then I would also look into other services, like you mentioned. I mean, give those a shot, especially if they're within your price range, see if they work for you. And then we also really recommend, particularly within the launch, that's what Free Booksy does a good job of.
Yeah, exactly.
You give it away for free, you're getting the scale of the downloads. And then you hope that, and it should, be a percentage of those people who do leave a rating and a review.
Are you able to sort of track the performance of that using Free Booksy, so you can see like who's left a review and like how well the reviews, the process has gone, sort of thing?
So what we recommend, so we can actually like tie it back because we don't have the correct affiliate tags to like truly be able to say like it exactly generated this download or this review. Mm-hmm. But especially if you're early on and we're talking about your first book, this is where I would say you need to be diligent about your reporting. And what I mean by that is you're only going to be doing so many marketing things, right, on any given day. And this is where I say, even if you're promo stacking, aim to do like one thing a day so that okay, this Free Booksy email went out for me on, Tuesday the 2nd, right? Yep. And then, a week later, I got 5 reviews, right? Yep. And I hadn't done anything else, in the meantime, right? So you can probably attribute those to that email promo.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. I see what you mean. So you can kind of track by doing them in a particular order, then you can work out which has been the best performance for your books.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
with your lists, obviously you must have like thousands of readers on your different lists. Are there particular niches that you think do better with these lists that you've noticed? Is there like people who are like, oh, just love equestrian romance books or stuff like that, or is it, can you get that granular?
So we can get very granular.
Yeah.
And so when a reader signs up for our list, and this could be any of our email lists, it could be Free Booksy, Bargain Booksy, NewInBooks, Red Feather Romance, they specify which genres they want to sign up for. And we try to give them as many options as possible so that in turn, when an author chooses to promote with us, they can find the specific readers that they want to engage with. And, unsurprisingly, what are some of like our top genres? Like romance, mystery, thriller, cozy mystery. And then once a year, we do what we call genre proliferation, which is where we survey readers, we survey authors, and we look at other trends in the indie industry and say, hey, these are some up and coming genres that we've been asked for. We should probably consider adding them as options for readers to sign up for, and then focusing on growing those list of reader subscribers to that specific genre. So, what we're seeing right now is a big push towards dark romance, mafia romance, romantasy,
right?
Romantasy, and then also, we're getting a lot of push for business and finance books too.
Oh, really?
Which
okay,
is
that's
something it is interesting. So that's something we primarily catered to with NewInBooks and Bargain Booksy, but there's probably going to be some sort of expansion there in the future.
Okay, definitely keep us in touch with that, because especially with finance, business, that sort of thing, self-developments, that those books are really popular for writers at the moment because there's lots of sub niches within it.
Yes,
I do see quite a lot of the same topics coming up, but
self-help too. And self-help we cover across all of our brands, and that's been a staple of ours. So self-help is also, if that's what you're writing in, certainly check those out.
Yeah, great. When you've got your books on the free promotion, when I've got my launches, for example, I like to use all my 5 free Amazon days in one go. I kind of like to have this big kickoff where I go, let's all use all 5 days and have a big a big thing. Do you use them all in one go, or do you recommend like saving a couple until the end of your 90 days? Or
I would recommend using them all in one go.
Yeah.
Yep. So, your KDP free days, plan to use them. And then what I would recommend is doing a 5-day promo stack.
Yeah.
And written word, this is something we launched last year that I think has been our biggest product launch in the past bit, is you can actually just go and look and say, hey, I have a book that'll be free for 5 days starting on this date. What do you recommend? And we will give you a vetted promo stack of what we would recommend you use for your 5 free days.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I know some writers, they like to sort of save 2 of their days until later on, but I think you're better off to kind of get your ducks in a row and say, okay, I'm going to speak to these Facebook groups, tell them the book's going to live. I'm going to build up these newsletters, which I want to put it out to, and then use it again, get it with a service like Free Booksy so that I can get those reviews and free books out there ready to go. So I know exactly what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you're getting those 5 days, what does one of those promo stacks look like? Let's go through like what those 5 things could be.
Yeah. So there's basically what you would do is you would go to the promo stacks on the Written Word Media website. You would put in your genre, and then you will say, my book is going to be free. And then we will give you different various options. And the real cool thing about these is we don't only recommend written word media promotions. We have what we call promo partners, which historically have been competitors of ours, but now we work with them. And so we're able to pull in their inventory as well as our inventory and say, hey, we recommend a Free Booksy promo, but then we also recommend a Hella Books promo, right?
Yeah.
And on top of that, we also recommend, if you're doing 5 days, to do a 5-day reader reach run, which is where we run your Facebook and Instagram ads for you. So it's really It's a hybrid approach, but what I will say is we put a lot of time and thought into what's going to perform the best, for these promo stacks. And then it's also a heck of a lot easier to schedule them because you're not having to pull up different promo sites, which might or might not have inventory availability when your book's going to be free. And then, it's like, oh, I really wanted this promo site and I can't get it. And now
Yeah.
I feel like, I'm defeated, right? You can do it all in one place.
Great. Makes sense. So, yeah, because I think a lot of people, especially when they're just starting out, they get a bit overwhelmed maybe with like how many things they need to be doing to get the promo done. There's so many, especially with Amazon, it's like it's not very intuitive, like back end. So sometimes people are thinking, oh, I don't really know how to use computers. So this is a bit difficult. So it's good that it's all in one place. It's all done for you. That's great.
It makes a big difference. And if there's one thing any of you new authors take away from this podcast, please let it be this. I know it's very overwhelming when you're getting started and, had this launch. You're being told by a million different gurus, like, here's what you should be doing. If you have questions and want to pick someone's brain and, get an honest feedback on like, here's what you should probably be doing to market your book, reach out to Written Word Media, hello@writtenwordmedia.com, ask our team, and we will look at your book and say, here's what we think the best thing you should be doing in terms of your marketing is, whether it's our products or not. So that's an invaluable resource. I can't say that enough. Like, reach out to our team and we will point you in the right direction free of charge.
Yeah, sounds good. And so because there's so many services that like you offer and also stuff that you should be doing free, say there was one thing that would like get the gears moving fastest with your promo, what's the one thing you should be doing?
So let me ask you this. So you're saying if just like right off the bat, Teddy,
you could do if you're thinking just one thing that you could be doing, like that would be the best, that would get the sales moving fastest or get the reviews moving fastest as well.
I would say if you're able to get your book at a free price point and run a promo stack, that's going to be the biggest bang for your buck and move the needle the fastest.
Yeah, great.
So a free book promo stack.
Your one bit of advice. When you're doing launches, do you run ads and how do you make that work, like with the ads? Do you have a particular type of campaign you like to run with these free book campaigns, or is there, how's that usually work? Because a lot of people don't want to spend money on ads when they're giving away a free book, which I totally get, but also you've got to think about these promos as launching a book and getting it out there as much as possible. So I think there's kind of both sides. Do you have any thoughts on that?
There are, and I totally understand that sentiment. Like, if I'm going to do it free, it's also hard to justify spending money on an email promo or like starting to figure out Facebook and Instagram ads for myself. And what I would say there is certainly try both if you want. Like, if you want to go out of the gate at 99 cents or $1.99, you certainly can. And that's one of the beautiful things about our Reader Reach Facebook and Instagram ads is as long as your book's $4.99 or below, we'll run ads for you. So you can try that as well. And then, we know all the audience targeting. So we'll save you some of that stress and sunk cost by figuring it out yourself, by making the creative for you and utilizing what we know about reader audiences for your specific genre. And if you're able to have a profitable launch at 99 cents or $1.99 or $2.99, $4.99, that's wonderful. We certainly don't want to dissuade you either way. But if you're able to go free, that is certainly a tried and true method for growing your audience and seeing read through of your series, if that's your plan.
Yeah, I think I think you've got to have the ads on whilst you're doing these free promotions. It just really gets it out there. It's another promo stack. It's one of the things that you can control, and you can have control over the keywords that you want to rank for. It's really powerful.
Absolutely.
So before we just come to them, there's also a lot of people I speak to, they say, oh, my book's not really selling, and they're doing these promo things, and you have a look at their listings and you say, well, I can see why it's not selling. You haven't thought about your cover and stuff like that, or you haven't done your title very well. So are there any common mistakes that you see people do that they should really avoid, both with like their listings, but also with the promo side of it? Like, are there any mistakes that people typically make and they can avoid?
There are certainly the cover image. If there's one thing I've learned in my couple years working at Written Word Media, readers absolutely will judge a book by its cover. That's a
Yeah.
real thing. We have the data to prove it. So it's worth investing in a good cover. Just because you love the cover doesn't mean that readers necessarily will. If you're trying to sell books, you need to be receptive to that sort of feedback. The other thing is your book blurb. So the short description of your
Just for the
book.
blurb with the cover, do you have any good resources that either you've had good success with or that you know people have that you use for the covers?
Yes. So I would recommend Reedsy.
Yes.
Reedsy can help connect you with great designers. They're vetted. So, if I had to say one, work with Reedsy to connect you
Yeah.
with a great cover designer. That would be
Yeah.
my recommendation.
That is good. I've had some good experience with 100 covers as well. Yeah, it's quite good value. Reedsy, they're sort of independent designers, whereas 100 covers I think is a bit more. It's not quite maybe not quite as good, but it's still very good quality for the money, I think.
You want good quality. You want, good bang for your buck. What you don't want is just, you don't want to go out with a poor quality cover,
Yeah.
that isn't going to help you get a return on investment on any of the marketing you're doing for your
Yeah.
book. So that's the cover. And then the book blurb, which from a written word media perspective, when I'm saying book blurb, when we send our emails, it is your title, it is the cover image, and then it is a very brief book blurb, which is a teaser for your book that readers can also see. And you really want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward with
This isn't the
regards to a book
description
blurb.
you're talking about. This is in your emails
So
that you send out.
it's almost a shorter description.
Right.
Yeah, so it's almost a shorter description. And back to what I said earlier about our team being helpful. Our team, we take great pride in making sure we're setting authors up for success. So
Yeah.
if a submission comes through and the cover, we look at it and it's like we don't think this is going to get great results, we'll reach out and let the author know
Yeah.
and say, like, hey, we'll reschedule this for you in the future if you want to work on redesigning your cover, or we'll help you rewrite your book blurb free of charge too. So that's the sort of stuff that really sets the written word media team apart.
Yeah. Cool. And so this book blurb, this is what goes in the email that you send out, you mean? So this is like a short version of the cover that people can read to. Yeah. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Brilliant. I mean, that's been really helpful. There's been loads of actionable stuff in there for people to take away.
Good.
Yeah, I think the book promotion is a really big part. So try not to overcomplicate it. And like, if you are not understanding, definitely speak to a service like Written Word Media who can basically guide you through the whole process and really get your book ranking.
Yes, that would be my recommendation. Email us with your book and say, I'm lost. I don't know what to do, but I'm looking to start marketing and we'll point you in the right direction.
Brilliant. That sounds great. So, well, thank you for talking to us. It's been really good. Just before we go, we've got one last question, and that is a book that you recommend that you think everybody should be reading.
Yes. So the book that I would recommend is by Paul Jarvis. It's called Company of One. And this is applicable to really anyone starting a business, including an author business. But really what this book is, it's practical strategies for building and maintaining a successful and profitable small scale business. So, this is a book that helps you, and I've seen this a lot with authors, you think like, okay, for me to be successful, I have to be doing what, E.L. James is doing with 50 Shades of Grey or something like that, right? And like, you'd need to figure out like what's your version of success,
Right.
and not let some of these other things get in the way of what success means to you. And then also, what that means for profitability too, because it's, at the end of the day, being an author, and if you want to do it full time, you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to be a small business owner.
Yeah.
And to continue that, you need to be profitable. So this is it's a really good book that I would recommend.
Oh, Company of One. I'll definitely put that down. It sounds a bit like some of my favorite books, like the E-Myth and some other books like that, all combined into one. That it's going to be good for authors.
Yes, it's great. Yeah. And it's a quick read.
Even better. Who's got time to read?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Stay right.
Well, brilliant. No, thanks. That was really great, Mike. So thanks to everyone. If everyone wants to get in touch with Written Word Media, then the best place is just writtenwordmedia.com. And I think that was hello@writtenwordmedia.com. And you can get straight through to Mike. That's right. Brilliant. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Mike.
Correct.
I've got the links to your website in the chat below, and I'll see you in another call soon. Thank you very much.
Sounds great. Thank you for having me, Teddy. Thank you all.